Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Chicco Myfit. This is a forward-facing harness to booster seat. So it is known as a combination seat. It is a forward-facing harness and then it becomes a booster seat. Right now I have it in the most extended tall slot. It goes to 54 inches. So that's something I really love about this is how high this goes. Now it starts at, since it's forward-facing only, 2 years old is the minimum in the manual. So if your child is under 2, they cannot use the seat. 25 pounds is another minimum, okay? And then maximums for harness are 65 pounds or 54 inches, which is one of 2 seats on the market with that, the other one being the Chicco Myfit, or the tops of their ears is not contained, so we all need coverage to the tops of our ears. But this is really tall, so you're gonna hit that 54 inches probably before then. Booster mode, we have 40 pounds to 100 pounds, 40 pounds minimum, 100 pounds is maximum. They also have to be 38 inches. And up to 57 inches. So once they hit that 57-inch max, they've maxed out, or that the seat belt coming through these belt guides is dipping below their shoulder, in which case it is outgrown at that point as well. This does not become a no-back booster, so it's not an option on that front. Anyway, I really love this seat. It is a great big kid option. There's a lot of space here. I mean, not super wide, but it's a lot wider than your typical convertible seat is for forward-facing mode. There is so much extra harness, so a bigger kid is going to be able to fit in this, and then you're going to be able to tighten it down. And again, this top harness slot I really do like. It plays nice with a lot of non-removable headrests, not all of them, but it plays nice the way that it's set. There is a recline on this seat, which is rare in combination seats. So I had it on Recline 1, now it's on Recline 4, so it can be really upright, or it can be, you know, there's 3, there's 2, and there's 1, so it can lay back a little bit more. There's no limits on these reclines, except that you do need to have the bubble in. So in harness mode, it needs to be in between this line to that line, and then booster mode, it needs to be between that line and that line. So it is going to have to be more upright. Let me move it closer to the camera so you can see a little bit. But anyway, so we have our harness mode lines is the outer line there to that line, and then our booster mode is the inner white line right there to that line. So there is a recline indicator, and so that is something that is not found on a lot of forward-facing seats. There's not usually a forward-facing recline indicator. However, like I said, it does, because this headrest sits a little bit further forward, it does play a little bit nicer with those headrests, especially in the more upright reclines. My floor is flat, so of course now the bubble's out of range, but not a vehicle seat. This is a lock off. So when you install with a seatbelt, I will have install videos. Of course, if you install with the seatbelt, you'll put the lap belt or the lap shoulder belt through this hole, and then the shoulder belt gets pulled through this lock off once the lap belt is tight, and this holds it tight. You do not have to lock it. This is a lock off. Booster mode, we have our belt guides. We have our orange ones up here for the shoulder belt. We have our orange ones on the side here for the lap belt to come across. It makes a good booster. It's probably not going to last your kid to 57 inches just because this, you know, unless they're an average or smaller torso length, because of where this maxes out. But it does get a lot of kids close to 54 inches. So if you have a kiddo who is like 4 and 48 inches and they're just not fitting in other options of convertible seats, and they need to stay harnessed for longer, or they're, you know, a 5 or 6 year old who needs to stay harnessed longer, this is a great option. It makes a great forward-facing harness seat, and it makes a great booster seat. Cup holders are removable and dishwasher safe. Typical Chicco cup holders, there's a button here, and they release it and they pop out. Chicco's pretty standard across the board. We do have our top tether. It comes in this door. You just pull it out and it comes off. I will do a install video, so no concerns there. I will show you how to use the top tether in this seat. Lower anchors cannot, so the lower anchors cannot be used past 40 pounds in harness mode. So lower anchors are stored. Let me get the harness out of the way here. They are stored under the seat pad in the seat. So right here, there's like a door. Let me show you. There's like a door right here. There's and then you just pull up on that door and it opens, and out pop your lower anchors right here. They are the nice stapler type. I call them the stapler lower anchors. You put the that stapler part up, it clucks right on. When you're ready to get it off, you push these buttons. When you take it out of here, you're going to thread it behind the both sides out here so you can actually see. So lift everything up and get everything back in place. There. So I've got my lower anchors out here. Put my seat pad back down underneath. And you do need to thread it behind the seat cover here, and then it's going to pop out our belt path. So one will pop out that side, one will pop out the other side, and you can use them until 40 pounds for the seat. Right now they're backwards, but I can loosen them all the way so you have all the space to work with. They're backwards so they're not upside down. Anyway, so there we go. Now it's right. So it'll pop out. There we go. Pop out like this. This is how it works. I will do a lower anchor install in my harness install video. No worries there. You'll be able to see it if you look up that video. Storing the harness is going to have a so first I'm going to put the lower anchors back in this little trap door under the seat. They just kind of tuck in there. There's places for each of the things to go. There. There we go. So there's our seat belt. So one thing there that I do want to show you while I have the seat pad up, the harness buckle stores, so I just pulled it out of the seat cover. Underneath here, there's like a little place to just tuck it in there. You don't take it out. Also, when you're changing the harness buckle, you just go between these slots right here. So you just pull it up, turn it sideways, and it slides between these slots to move the position. So it would slide through there. So anyway, there's like a little, you can't really see it, but there's a little place right here to fold this into. That's where you would do it for booster mode. So you're just gonna tuck it in there, and it's not in the fabric anymore. It doesn't get taken out or anything. And then, I think to show you this best, I'm gonna have to take off the fabric on one side. So just bear with me for a minute. All right, so if I take the back fabric off here, tuck it to the other side just so I can show you best. Here, I'm going to fold this up. So we will have to take the harness pads off. These are removable. These hugs pads kind of thing, they're not really hug pads on a Chicco, but anyways, these are not removable. You cannot take these off and wash them. You can wipe them down with wipes. They must stay around the chest buckle. So that's something to keep in mind. With the seat, it is not removable. I can't remember if they have other versions where they are removable, but this is a clear text version and it's not removable. So I gotta unsnap this from the armrest pad. So anyway, so we're looking here and we have our harness storage. See that? Gives you pretty good view. So what you're gonna do is you're going to take your harness, you're gonna put it in front, behind the fabric, okay? And you're going to, this is to get it in booster mode. You're going to buckle these, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tuck everything down into our harness storage. Okay. Showing it says, swipe the chest clip down to the buckle tongues and insert the chest clip and the buckle. Yeah, so you have to push everything down, all the way down. And then you're just gonna push it all kind of into this hole. And that's where you keep, it says to not have it buckled. Usually you buckle it into like a door on the back of the seat. So anyway, that's where you keep the whole harness. So it all has to be unbuckled. It all gets pushed down in there. And then you can just kind of like tighten this up so there's no loose straps. But you don't want to tighten it too much because you want to be able to move this headrest up and down still. And if you tighten it too much, that will restrict the headrest to the higher positions if they're not already in it when your child outgrows. So anyway, so I'm going to put my cover back on. Kind of a mini view of how you put the cover on. The strap hooks right here. There's a strap here that hooks on the back. Chicco has a wonderful video about putting this car seat together. This is not my seat. This is a friend's seat, and I had never put it together. I washed it for her, and it took me a little bit to figure out because it is not like the one fit and the next fit that I own. And I'm super familiar with it. It's similar enough. Like, it follows the same guidelines, but it's not the same because it's not a convertible seat or an all-in-one seat. So anyway, so then I'm just gonna buckle my armrest pad back on my back pad, and then put this back down, and now it's in booster mode. So again, this headrest can get, so you want your child in the booster to be wherever this slot is, right above their shoulder, not like up here by their ear. Like right above their shoulder, not below their shoulder, not like really high up. So if they're shorter, you know, they're closer to 38 inches, they're maybe like 7 and 45 pounds and 39 inches or something. Because, you know, 7-year-olds are that short sometimes. Then you would have this headrest lower versus higher. So anyway, so it gets pretty high. Great seat all around. I really like it. I'm Sarah. I'm a CPST, and I'm here to make your car seat buying process easier. Like and subscribe on here for more content. I do lots of install videos. I'm working on some other stuff like how to harness a kitten and how to take covers off and stuff like that. Chicco, phenomenal covers, like removal videos. I cannot do them justice, so I probably won't do Chicco seats, but other companies do not have these videos, so I might work on some of those. But anyway, like and subscribe for more content, and follow me on Instagram, Tiny Passenger Safety. Thanks, and always open to feedback and everything. Let me know what you think.